My current project on making one of these large media walls. And the problem with these units is they have a fairly large footprint and a lot of wasted space. So I designed this unit to have side slide outs that have plenty of storage and are completely concealed. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I made these. So to start, I am doing the slides on the bottom of the cabinet, which are pretty much the bread and butter of how this is going to work. I wanted a really sturdy mounting bracket to put into the unit. So if you watch the first video where I built the frame, I continued my habit of doing lap joints in order to mount these slides. This will fit right on the inside of the frame. I can mount my slides on top of it. I made this a separate piece because I was kind of designing this as I went, and the big thing I was looking for with this base is I didn't want the slide to go from the top of the ceiling to the bottom of the floor because I didn't want to have the moldings pull out with it. It's going to be really hard to keep miters true on the top and the bottom with pullouts. Those need to be permanently affixed, so these are mounted so they're going to be above any of the moldings. I got $50 slides off of Amazon, which are rated pretty well. They make heavy duty, really expensive pantry slides, but since this is going on the inside of a TV cabinet, it's most likely going to be holding stuff like DVDs and lighter objects, so I opted for more inexpensive slides. The one problem with these slides, which I did not realize until I had already started building because I hastily ordered them on Amazon, is they do not detach, so I had to kind of change my design halfway through. But essentially I just mounted these on those two frames I made. They're about 5 inches up, so they're going to clear my entire first piece of shiplap, and then I just put my platform on top of it, marked where the slides are on the platform, and I can mount my slides right to this piece of plywood, and that is how that is going to go in place. It's essentially a homemade DIY bracket for these slides. I looked at getting one of these units to make my life easier, but pantry slide outs on Wayfair, which is one of the cheaper places to get them, are almost $1,000 just for one, and they're not going to fit inside the space I needed them to fit inside. Now originally I had mounted these a little bit further back because the cabinet I'm putting on this, I thought these detached and I was going to attach the cabinet permanently to this plywood base. That's one of the changes I will make. But you can see I could put this unit I have right inside the cabinet, slide it out, and then permanently attach the lap jointed section to the frame. So I know I'm putting shiplap on the side, and like I said, it's about 5 1/4 tall. So my slide out is going to clear that entire first piece, and that first piece is going to be permanently attached to the frame. So then at this point I'd been playing with them a little bit, and I decided to put a cross member in between them. I also, like I said, realized they do not detach, and I moved my slides to the front of the plywood because at this point the best way to make this is to make the cabinet be able to come in and out of the carcass for transport. Now I had already made my boxes at this point, and you'll see later in the video how that was a little bit of a pain because I made them to fit obviously in between the frame, but then I decided to change the way I made the cabinetry, but I'd already made the boxes. I was not remaking them. I'll show you how I made the boxes at the end of the video. I have many videos showing how to make those. It's kind of a boring process. I wanted to include it for people that want to make it for themselves, but for people that watch the channel all the time, I decided to put it at the end. Originally I was just going to do an open frame, kind of like how they have spice cabinets with just a slat and a piece in the front and the back, but as I was building this I realized I wanted something a little more sturdy, so I essentially just built a tall cabinet that's going to go inside the piece. I'm going to attach the front to the back with rabbit and dados, and as you saw I roughly mounted my boxes in the frame. I could get measurements for all of my heights. This little flange is going to cover the hardware in the piece. That will make more sense when you see it in place. I could cut that because these are going to be identical, and then map out all of my spacing. The spacing is essentially pretty symmetrical with even heights on all of them, except for where the fireplace unit's going to be. This has to fit around that, so I couldn't have any boxes where the fireplace is going to be. Now I'm making all 4 of these sides identical. I'll have to trim glued down one of the front panels later in the video so that it could fit on top of that plywood platform, but it's easier to make all of my cuts how you see them with rabbets and dados and stops at the same time. Then I could put my plywood boxes on my frames and measure in between those rabbets and dados, get an exact measurement, and then cut all of my slats. Now you could see, because I already made the draw boxes, at this point they're a little bit of overkill because this will have a backer on it as well. I could have just made the slats and then put a cross member across the front. So if you don't feel like making draw boxes, that is a very substantial way to get this done without making them. But like I said, I changed my plan, but I wasn't going to chuck all those draw boxes because they are time consuming to make. So I could put glue in all of my slats, all of my dados for the slats, put those in place. I'll put my drawer boxes on there just to keep everything aligned and help square everything up, and then I could put the top on as well. So you can see this is coming together as just a tall cabinet. In order to let all the glue dry, I'm just going to put some brad nails in place to hold everything together while that glue dries. Make sure the front and the back are flush. Put that top piece on, and then I'll measure my diagonals to make sure it's square. Once both of these diagonal measurements are the same one, you know it's square, and then I could put a backer on this. Now, like I said, I changed my plan, so the backer was actually not included in my original measurements, and it's almost about 1/4 of an inch. So when I put this in place, it would have worked, but it just wasn't enough room for my liking. And even though I milled up all this lumber, if you watch the first video, made lap joints, it's pretty square and true. The problem was, because it is dimensional lumber, it was really tight tolerance in certain parts of the pieces. So what I decided to do was I took it out. You could see I'm trimming down that front, so now it fits perfectly on the plywood. You can see my sides are pretty even, but towards the top it leans a little bit and it gets pretty tight. On this side it wasn't as bad, but I decided to take that back panel off and sink it inside the frame. It would actually make it a little bit stronger, and then I would gain that extra 3/16 of an inch, which is what I wanted. So I have a rabbeting bit. I popped off my back panel. I added a rabbet to the inside of all of my cubby holes, and then the backer I had, I'm just going to cut down and plop inside. It was a pretty easy fix. If I was doing this again, obviously I know exactly how I would build this structure to go inside the cabinet. The way I did it is not necessarily wrong. If anything, it's overbuilt, which I don't hate when working, but when you make changes like that on the fly, sometimes you have to be prepared for it to affect other dimensions. Now that it fit in there with enough room on the sides, I can measure how much space I had to the top. I can add an extra spacer in the back, so I could essentially make another mounting bracket for the top. I had to make up 5/16 of an inch, so I made 2 spacers that come down off the top side of the frame, and then I also calculated a 1/2 inch piece of ply on top of that to get me right to that 5/16 inch space. Now I'm dry fitting this with a 21 inch slide. These slide out 16 inches on the bottom. I only had a 21 inch slide in the shop, so I wanted to make sure I could get this to work before I bought 16 inch slides. You can see how that slide fits perfectly on the top side of that cabinet. I can mount the slide in the center. I could use shims to space my inner cabinet exactly where I need it to be, so it's perfectly flush with the outer frame of that carcass, because when you put your shiplap on, it's really important that that is all true. Otherwise you'll have gaps in your shiplap, gaps in your molding, and then I can mark where this top mounting bracket had to go and slide it in place. There is some finagling I did to get all this to work, but in general it went in pretty solidly that first time. So you could see the slides out way too far with that 21 inch slide, but I was pretty happy it was working. And then you could see now the cabinet will get fixed to that plywood platform. So all I have to do is take out those bottom screws, detach the upper slide, and then that cabinet can come in and out, and that's how I'm going to transport it. I didn't film it, but I switched these out with 16 inch slides. I didn't use soft close or anything like that, because those little springs on soft close aren't going to work on something this size, but that is what those 2 units look like. Everything's set level and plumb in there. They slid really well. Always check your level on all sides. That will make life a lot easier when you go to skin it. The one thing I had to do to the cabinets, because they will interfere with the fireplace if not, is notch out a little bit on the inside. I notched more than I needed to just so it doesn't touch the fireplace, and it will clear it inside the cabinet. So that is how I dealt with the fact that this unit, the fireplace is wide enough that you wouldn't have had much storage without doing that notch. I also did not film this, but I use edge banding on all of the plywood edges. And then even though this is part of next week's footage, which will be making and installing the shiplap, I decided to put some of it in here for people that are only going to watch the one video. You could see how the pull-out clears just over the top of the shiplap, and then I could go all the way up to the top. All of my pieces going to the top, except for the tippy top piece and the bottom piece, are all attached just to the pull-out, not the frame. And then I could just clean up the edges with some corner molding, and that is how that will hide all the seams, so I didn't have to spend time doing fancy miters or anything on the corners. And the tops and bottoms are extended because all of the molding, when I put it in, I don't know where it's going to lie at this point because I have to go level it in the space, so just kept it long and then I could trim it. And then once again, this is just a side view of it. This is at this point it only has primer on. That's what the notches look like, plenty of room for the fireplace, and they slide very easily with just one hand, and the inside of what that looks like. I have no binding, nothing's catching. I'm going to crouch down in a minute and you can see just how it clears over the top of that shiplap. The cabinet is attached with 4 screws into my plywood base, so I could take those out, take the whole cabinet out to transport it. All of my shelves top to bottom, and then obviously the top piece where it also clears, and the extended molding there as well for when I go to install it. A lot of putty to do on this, but it's ready for paint. I had made up all of my drawer boxes at the same time, so there was 10 going into the unit and 2 for the smaller side. On the bottom, I'm using new slides. It's spelled S-A-L-I-C-E, which I pronounce Salis, but I do not think that is the proper pronunciation, which is why I'm spelling it out. And they make a unit that's push to open for bottom mount drawer slides that will be 12-inch slides. Blum also makes them, which is the hardware I'm used to using, but they are almost 3 times as expensive, so I went with these. It's my first time using this hardware, but it's pretty similar. I show you how to mount and make drawer boxes on the channel. I think I have actually a video linked in the description, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. I just made L brackets on the bottom once again, so my drawer boxes clear the molding. I'm going to have the baseboard molding that will wrap around this, and I could fit these right into place. And the push to open so far is working pretty well. Installed these at this point probably 2 weeks ago. It's really nice because they actually work pretty well with your foot, and then that front cabinet will not have any hardware. Like I said, I'm going to show you how I made the drawer boxes. So at this point, I'm just cutting down 1/2-inch ply. For all of the interior components, I'm using pre-finished ply. So once this is all said and done, I don't have to worry about it. It's all finished. I bought just enough material to make all of these components, so I actually used the cut list in order to figure out how to best utilize my pieces, which is why you saw me ripping it and then cross-cutting it down and saving chunks of it for other parts of the build. But for the cabinets that are going in, the drawer boxes that are going inside the cabinet, they're 3 inches tall. So I just ripped a bunch of 3-inch material, and then I could trim it down to my sizes. It's 16 inches slides, so the drawer boxes are about 15 3/4 because I have a 1/2-inch backer on the front and the back. And then I just use a dovetail jig for this. You do not have to make your drawer boxes with dovetails. I do because I have it, so I could score them real quickly and then put it in the jig and pump out all of these boxes. And then obviously the bigger sizes I made at the exact same time, but I don't think I filmed the bigger ones. Then I could add the dovetails to all of my corners because it's easy once you have this jig set up to just do it all at once. And then I could plop all of these in place. This is the bigger one, and dry fit everything. Once all of the boxes fit, I can go through and route a 1/4-inch groove on the bottom side of my drawer boxes, and then I could put my my base in there. So I have quite a stack at this point. Like I said, I made 10 for the inside and 2 for the outside, and then that is the basic process. Because when you buy plywood, it says it's a 1/4 inch, but it's never a true 1/4 inch. Instead of using the dado stack, I'm just going to run my pieces through twice and widen that gap to get a perfect 3/16 of an inch. Cut down the panels for the bases, and then glue all these together, obviously making sure that they are square. But that's the basic procedure I use for making drawer boxes. Like I said, you can use, if you're making the cabinet the way I made it, you technically don't have to put these boxes in there. I switched up my design a little bit, which made it overkill, but I'm never upset with making something extra sturdy, especially for a customer. Once again, check my diagonals, make sure they're exactly the same, and then they're done.